Russia, Mexico City, so on and so forth. In this area, particularly like Columbus and so on and so forth, it's been a while since you've been there. Are you going back?
Yeah, no, it's true. It has been a while. Cincinnati too. Yeah, we will.
And then speaking about venues, Gary Cook announced last week or 2 weeks ago that you're going to Poland in 2014. And there are rumors that you're looking at the biggest soccer stadium in Poland, in Warsaw. What can you tell about it?
Actually, he would know more about that than I do. Yeah, you gotta talk to him about that one.
And then you signed the Ukrainian guy, the first Ukrainian guy who's going to be on the card in Milwaukee. UFC going, all over the world, opening new countries and getting new fighters from different. Do you have any thoughts on his upcoming debuts?
Yeah, I mean, that's what we always do. We're always looking for the best guys from all over the world, and I love when we get guys that are from new territories. And we're actually, a few years ago, we were very close to doing a fight in the Philippines, and an Ultimate Fighter down there too. We finally got that deal done. We're going to the Philippines too. We're going to do a fight down there. Not a tough, but we're bringing a fight to the Philippines. So the end of this year looks awesome. All the fights stay together, as is right now. It's going to be a great end of the year. And then again next year we have tons of new things that we're working on, from Russia to Mexico to the Philippines, and the Ultimate Fighters that we're working on in these other countries, and it's going to be fun.
Is India still one of those? Ultimate Fighter?
Yeah, we're still working on India.
But it'll be next year. At some point, do you think it'll be this year?
You get into these deals and you start trying to figure out how to get them done and work them and all. It takes some of them get done and some of them take more time. Look at how long we've been in Canada and how strong a market Canada is for us. And we still haven't really done a real Ultimate Fighter up there. We're finally getting that done. So none of this shit is easy, and a lot of it takes time.
Can I bring up Vitor? Go back to him for a second. You had a slightly public back and forth on Twitter with a reporter who's not here right now about something that was tweeted out about Vitor fighting in Brazil. Without getting into that part,
I did.
Yeah.
Aioli.
Oh yeah,
So-
Kevin. Oh yeah, you want to talk about that?
No, I don't
Let's
want to talk
about
about it. I don't want to talk about that.
We can talk about that.
Is
So
there-
here's what happened with that. Well, the thing was, first of all, I'm at fucking SeaWorld. It's my daughter's birthday, okay? I'm walking around SeaWorld all day, hot, fucking sweating and miserable. And then Lorenzo calls me and says, check, double check, but I'm pretty sure that fucking Kevin Aioli just called us shady on Twitter. And I said, what? Why would he call us shady? The fact that Vitor is fighting in Brazil again. And so I look, sure enough, I respond to Kevin, and then 5 minutes later, me and Kevin get on the phone. And it's like, he's like, well, I wasn't calling you shady. I was calling Vitor shady. Vitor doesn't choose where he fights. Vitor doesn't pick where he fights. He tries to pick who he fights, but he doesn't choose where he fights. And we put him down there. First of all, the second most important media that we're in business with is Globo. Globo is very important. I don't know if you guys remember. I don't even remember what show it was, where we were all kind of sitting around for 20 minutes. It was kind of like this odd, like, what the fuck is going on? It was like this whole stalemate in the show. And it was during the Machida, right before Machida fought. We had to go at a certain time to air on TV for them. They wanted that fight at like 10:36 exactly, So we had to try to work around that and deliver this fight to them when they wanted it. They have a big fight that's going to be on Global. They wanted fucking Vitor. So they want Vitor, they're going to get Vitor. They tell me they want fucking, whoever they say they want, I'm going to try to make it happen. So everybody starts coming out. I don't know how many times I have to say that obviously we're not in a Chuck Liddell situation here where like, this guy's my best friend and whatever Chuck wants we're going to do, You can tell me and Vitor are a little, and Vitor Belfort is not cheating. Vitor Belfort is not being tested. Vitor Belfort is not fighting in Brazil because he can get away with something down there. That's ridiculous. First of all, we wouldn't do that for anybody. Anybody. We would never put together a situation where a fighter has an advantage over another fighter. There's all these other things that come into play. Like, you got to fight Vitor in fucking Brazil and fly down there and do all this shit. And things. Those are the only type of advantages a guy will get. You know what I mean? Plus, Vitor doesn't fucking live in Brazil. Vitor lives in Florida. You know what I mean? You realize that, right? Vitor lives in Florida. Why isn't he fighting in Nevada? He was going to fight in Nevada. We were going to have him fight in Nevada. I think the last scrum I told you that. So they want him in fucking Brazil, so that's where he's going to fight.
Just my follow-up question.
That didn't answer the question.
Oh, no. It's kind of like you and Lorenzo and you guys behind the scenes. Don't you have to kind of assume that fans and journalists or whoever are maybe going to theorize on things like that? And then how do you combat that other than just sitting here and telling us what you just told us? You just have to deal with it?
No, it's fucking truth. I mean, other than tell you the truth,
right.
I mean, I literally tell you guys everything. I tell you guys too much all the time. And there's no way in fucking hell I would let Vitor Belfort stay in Brazil if he was cheating down there. And that was the reason why he was there. You know, there is a commission there that oversees what we do down there too. It's not run by us.
Right.
They come in and they test them. And I told you, Vitor was tested before. And even I told Kevin, I said, call Ratner, ask about the tests and what his levels were and everything else. Well, then that's information that you can't give out because it's like fucking like medical information. But Vitor Belfort is being tested, and Vitor Belfort is within the limits of what he's supposed to be when he fights. I mean, I don't know what to tell you other than, you know, it's the truth, and believe me or don't believe me. But to come out and say, to call us shady, and especially a guy like Kevin Iole, because I'll tell you what, and I've never said this publicly before, but, you know, Kevin Iole is a guy from Vegas who, you know, we've known for a long time, from the boxing days and whatever, and when all that shit went down with Randy Couture, when he was fucking lying about how much he made, I literally called Kevin Iole and I said, come on down here right now. You can go through every fucking contract and look through all the papers, and you can find out who's fucking lying and who's telling the truth. And he did. So we've always been upfront. And now, you think that we would lie about that and risk the credibility of the sport, the UFC as a brand, so that Vitor Belfort could fight in fucking Brazil and cheat? So we're gonna flip this whole fucking thing upside down for Vitor Belfort, my best friend. It just makes no sense.
I'm with you.
When you really fucking look at it and think about it, it makes no sense. You know? If we fucking lied and were doing that and did that, right? Look at Rampage. Dude was my best friend at one time. We were fucking running the 3-legged race for like 2 months, attached at the fucking hip. And now I'm like the slave master from fucking whatever Tito called me. That fucking buffoon. You know what I mean?
I was going to ask you about that as well.
Yeah.
Not that this will
How about this fucking moron coming out and saying he was a slave? Do you even... I shouldn't even ask that question if he knows what a slave means, because he's one of the dumbest motherfuckers you will ever meet. Seriously. He's a slave to stupidity, is what he is. But yeah, it's like, if we were doing that for Vitor Belfort, and we get sideways with Vitor in a year, you don't think you'd hear about it? Think you'd know about it? You know? All these guys were, at one minute they're like, yeah, UFC is the greatest place on earth. We make so much money. A fucking year later they're pissed off and like, you know. But you don't ever hear all these guys that are pissed off. What do they say? You know, those two the other day, we were mistreated and, you know, we just want to be respected and they said mean things to us and, you know, whatever the fuck that means, okay? You don't ever hear them come out and say that we did fucking shady shit, or we did bad things, or we ever told somebody to do this, or we ever made somebody do that, or we allowed them to cheat, or we did this or that. You know, 13 years of being in the business, having guys under contract with us that were, everything was great and happy, and then when they get disgruntled and they end up going away, what's the one thing you hear? I don't like what he said, I don't like fucking this, I don't like, you know, he said mean things, or he did whatever. You don't ever hear anything illegal, anything dirty, anything, you know, you don't ever hear shit like that, because we would never in a million years.
You said a few weeks ago you would be interested in talking to Ben Askren. I know just some of the comments that Bjorn Rebney made about, you know, he's not interested in really pursuing.
Bjorn Rebney's a scumbag. The guy says, yeah, we're going to let him go and let's just part ways. And he ain't fucking parting ways with him. He's got a matching right, and all that bullshit.
He goes to like the
remember,
Alvarez thing?
This guy is a fucking typical boxing piece of shit. Everybody knows the guy's a scumbag, and it is what it is. So we'll see what happens to Ben. Maybe they'll, first they say they're going to let him go, and they're not going to let him go. They'll probably end up suing him too and making him fucking sit out and lose a bunch of money and, fuck him in a